Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What do we got going on here? All right, greetings, all, Max. We're back. We're doing a thing. We're checking our stuff, making sure
Going on
everything
here?
is working correctly. All right, appears like it is. There's two people here. I have a thumbs down. Hi, Claudio. It's nice you could come. I know crypto is of the devil. Yeah, so as long as there's nobody here, then I will start this off with a little thing here. And there's a lot of people who are kind of down on crypto and down on, you know, investing and things like that. And there's a lot of people that will be happy in the fact when people lose money, like the market goes down, they'd be like, how's your crypto doing? Right. And I think it's almost like an excuse to make you feel good that you're not participating in it, or you're afraid to participate in it, or you're, for whatever reason, because you're not involved, you're happy when somebody else fails. That's a pretty common sentiment out there. So I did want to bring up Matthew 25:14-30. And this is the parable of the talents. People are familiar with this. It could be related to, typically a person's talents, what their abilities are, and not wasting them is essentially what it is. But the same could be true of like knowledge. And in the end, the reason that the servant who wasn't a very good servant, he had one talent and he didn't do anything with it. That was the reason that the master was angry with the servant, because he didn't do anything. He could have given his talent to somebody else, a bankster, and at least the bankster would have made him some interest on the talent, right? But because he did nothing, he's kind of upset. So I'm gonna bring that in there, and pretty well, the reason is that, like, how this would relate to my channel and this stuff in particular is really in preparation, for the future. As we know, the end times, they are coming, right? And we see it more and more every day. And we're at this point now where our empire is in really shaky ground. They kind of rescued it in 2008, and they basically enslaved all the generations that are going to come after, because nobody can pay a $28 trillion debt. Okay. It can't be done. And the only reason that America exists as a country right now is because we have military bases everywhere and we force people to use our money. And now people are getting away from the US dollar, and they're doing it using Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies or their own currencies or whatever. Okay. People have kind of had enough. And things, people have the idea that things are going to be tomorrow the same as they are today, just, day after day after day. And that's not always the case. There's been some pretty drastic, radical things that have happened in the past. I mean, I don't think anyone remembers 2008. And I wasn't in a position where I owned a house or anything like that, but that was pretty bad. I know I had a 401k plan through my work, and that lost half its value pretty much within about a month. So it was some pretty serious business. I wasn't involved in finance or anything like that, but things do happen. And at the end of the day, they bailed out the banksters who messed the economy up, and then stuck the bill with the people who got their property stolen and their livelihoods stripped away and their retirement savings stripped. And they did that because they control the finance, they control the money. So the reason that cryptocurrency is popular is not necessarily because it's a fad. It's because people see a glimpse of freedom to their assets where you actually own money. Okay. You can own gold and silver, but those are not currency. Those aren't legal tender. They're biblical tender, but they're not. You can't go to 7-Eleven and buy a candy bar with silver. Okay. You have to use your Federal Reserve notes. And as much as people say that cryptocurrency is the mark of the devil or whatever, have you ever actually looked at your dollar bills? Seriously, what kind of a lame, wag the dog argument, straw man, garbage argument is that when you're walking around with all seeing eyes in your pocket? Okay. with little pentagrams on them and little owls in the corner and all this secret Masonic garbage. So what cryptocurrency is done is liberate a good deal of people who are essentially enslaved. And it's not, necessarily America at this point in time, but South America gets it. Africa gets it, where they don't have any control over really anything because they don't have private property because of communism, because of dictatorships, because of whatever. And if they do have property, it gets confiscated, it gets stolen. It's almost impossible to protect if you don't have any wealth or any assets or money or whatever to protect the stuff that you have, right? So what you have with something like a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency or something that exists on the internet is something that is unconfiscatable, something that is more or less private, depending on what type of things that you're talking about. And it's also fungible, meaning that if you have one Bitcoin, somebody else who has a Bitcoin, they're going to be worth the same. Everyone agrees on the price. There are some cryptocurrencies where that's not the case, but that's the point of them. We'll get into that later. The idea is that you have currencies, it can be verified that you have the stuff and we can make a trade. And there doesn't need to be any government king. There doesn't need to be any government lord. There doesn't need to be a Rothschild involved anywhere. Okay. So it's more or less a freedom aspect of it. All right. And we say as we go into the end times and you have, the problems are going to be coming with supply chain. There's going to be problems, and there's all sorts of channels out there who are all the look at this and look at that. Oh, can you believe this? Oh, we're really here. And all of the doom and gloomers. All right. Plenty of channels for the doom and gloomers. But the thing is, if you don't do anything about any of that, don't prepare at all for any of that, you have no right to really complain about anything. You don't have a right to complain when they decide to do a bank bail-in and they take 50% of everybody's money out of their account because they own the Federal Reserve dollars. They can take all the stuff out of your account. They own it. You're a debtor to them. You're a debtor. That's how they see you. They did it in Argentina like twice. They did it in Greece. And I'm not saying that they are going to be doing this in America. It is well within their power and well within their rights because you're using their currency. Now, when you have a cryptocurrency that the world at large recognizes as something of value, it no longer matters. They can do whatever they want to with their dollars, and you can use your own money. All right. This is a very libertarian idea, sort of an anarchist maybe idea, but it ain't just for the libertarians and the anarchists. The big businesses know it is something very important, and governments hate it because they cannot manufacture wealth out of thin air. They cannot just give out money to their buddies. They can't receive all of these huge donations because in the case of Bitcoin, you can track every transaction back to the very first transaction of Bitcoin, which was for a pair of pizzas. And some people regard this as a negative, but it's a positive because, hey, if the government wants to look at what they think could be my Bitcoin wallet, they can watch that Bitcoin sit there forever. It doesn't really matter. But when they get Bitcoin from someplace, they don't maybe necessarily want people to know where their Bitcoin is going and what kind of things that they're doing with their finances, like an audit, kind of running audit. Now, that's how cryptocurrency is different from, say, you swiping your credit. Well, it sort of is like swiping your credit card, but like using your bank card where you swipe your bank card and the funds come out of your bank account. Now, the bank has a list of your transactions through their system, but it's just ones and zeros being transferred, added, subtracted, and all that stuff. Now, a cryptocurrency in Bitcoin's case, because not all crypto is the same. In Bitcoin's case, all of the transaction data and all the ledger data is actually stored on the blockchain itself. And for people who think that that's all spooky and scary and all of this stuff, it's like, well, I would guarantee you that your credit card company and your bank knows more about your spending habits than you do. All that information's already there on your Federal Reserve note system. Okay. So there's nothing spooky with that. I'll get into a little bit about how blockchain works, and then I want to play a little video because I'm people know that I'm kind of down on boomers, and it's not because I hate boomers or whatever like that, or I'm just a crazy opinionated guy. I get my information, my financial information, Bitcoin stuff, and all of this from boomers. I look to people who are older than me to tell me about things that have happened in the past so we can see things coming in the future. And these are things that they say about where the economy is going, because they went through 2008, and these are very wealthy people who talk about how they grew up and how things were back then and how they are now. Okay. And they see the writing on the wall, and they've been through it. All right. Look at the comments here a second. Frustrated majority sent fiance in Brazil money via crypto, and it took 5 seconds. That was an eye-opening moment. She sent me money a few years ago in the banks, and the fees were like $50. Right. Here's the thing when I say that you're going to have to learn cryptocurrency, whether or not you like it or not. And you can either do it on your own terms, or you can let the federal government screw you over. Okay. That is what it comes down to, because the Federal Reserve is going to come out with a US dollar Federal Reserve coin crypto token. It's already projected in the Bible. We know it's going to happen. All right. So now, do you have to use it? No, because alternatives exist. You don't. Just like the whole thing where everyone wants to complain about masks and the shots being the mark of the beast and all this. Well, you didn't have to do it. You know, people are given options and choices. But, you know, some people want to shoot the messenger and laugh when somebody stands up for their rights and gets beaten up by police, unfortunately. But so the idea was, like, with the fees, if you want to send, there's a lot of Mexican immigrants, of course, in America, and they've been coming ever since NAFTA. And they typically will work here and then just send the money straight back to Mexico and do it through MoneyGram. And it takes like days. And the reason that happens is so everybody can everybody can skim off the top, all of these little fees, and just steal money from you and just rob you. And especially in the digital age, you can understand this when you're Pony Expressing money someplace, right? But nowadays, if you use a credit card, it's like an instantaneous transaction. It doesn't get settled for like a month down the road. But for some reason, if you go across imaginary borders that really don't exist, they're created by man, all of a sudden it takes like a week to send money. And you got to pay. I wired funds to one of these exchanges. It cost $27 to wire $500. It's like, wow, that's a lot of money. And it's ridiculous. So yes, one of the solutions that digital cryptocurrency has is that it's basically instantaneous to send money. And you can verify that the money is real. It cannot be counterfeited. It goes over, it's encrypted. The other person gets it. And there's a ledger transaction that takes place that anybody can look at on a blockchain. So yes, that is a great thing. Chip D says he's in Canada currently using Coinbase. What would be the best method or way to purchase and store for you? We'll get into that. We'll talk about crypto wallets after we get through a bit of going through. I'm kind of doing the basics of the basics. A lot of older people kind of watch my channel, and we'll start with the basics of the basics. And then when we get into looking at the differences between coins, I'm going to use Coinbase. And so you can kind of get an overview on the crypto space as a whole. And what I really, will promote as my opinion, right, is that people need to have at least like $500 worth of Bitcoin. Everybody. Because you can't just let all of these rich guys have it. Okay. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm also going to say, wait a day or two or after the weekend, and we'll get into that too, because the market is being manipulated right now. And there's like $1 trillion of shorts on there where they're going to pull the trigger. And Bitcoin's probably going to go down. All right. It's probably going to go down. But you have to look at this as like an excellent buying opportunity. Something like Bitcoin is not something that you're going to flip. It's not something that, I'm going to put it in a month later, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to go live in the Cayman Islands or anything like that. It's something you're going to put there, and it's going to accrue in value and protect your wealth, because you can translate it to Federal Reserve notes, but in a year or two, who cares about Federal Reserve notes, right? We don't know what's going to happen with the dollar, but your Bitcoin is still going to maintain its value because the rest of the world understands its value. Okay. We had to think bigger than the United States because the empire is crumbling. The empire is crumbling. So I think people can see this on the screen. This is a graphic made up by somebody as to kind of how to explain it. So over here in the upper left here, you have a transit. You have a wallet and you have Bitcoin on it, and you want to send the Bitcoin to somebody else, and maybe you're buying a Tesla. Okay, you're sending it to Elon Musk. Well, that transaction goes out to nodes, which are just servers that they have the entire blockchain history we'll just use Bitcoin because it's up. Bitcoin as an example. They have the entire history all the way back to those 2 pizzas. The very first transaction is stored on all of these nodes, and there's over 10,000. There may even be closer to 20,000 now of these nodes all over in every part of the world. All right. And this transaction goes up and hits one of these nodes, and that node will reach out to a few other nodes. I don't know how many or whatever, but they all verify that it's a legitimate transaction because they have the wallet information. They go, oh yeah, I know this guy and I know Elon Musk. All right, let's do this deal. So then we go over to here where it shoots it out to the miners. And the miners are the ones who are mining blocks. Really, all it is you're running a computer algorithm to try and guess a thing to create a container for the information of your transaction, right? So when people are mining blocks, that's what a Bitcoin is just a block that contains data. It's all based around data, and the crypto part's in because you cannot falsify it, you cannot break it, you cannot hack it. So the miners will mine a block, and here comes your transactions, and the miners take that transaction and then they put it into the block. And when enough transactions come in, the block is sealed and it's added to the chain, and it ends up on the chain here. And when that block is created, all of the like a hash file of all of the blocks that came before it also gets added to that final block. So it's a 100% start to finish chain of custody. That's how you get blockchain into the idea. Now, it doesn't have to be currency. Okay. It can be contracts. Okay. It could be identification. It could be medical records. You get where I'm going, right? Can be all these things and can do all these things. Really, they can do all of those things already, guys. The thing with the one world medical system and all of this other stuff, they can already do that. But what a blockchain allows you to do is to do it efficiently and to do it where it can't really be hacked and counterfeited. That's really where it's at. So that's how the system in a nutshell works. So when you hear about like Bitcoin only having a limited supply, it's because it's encoded into the Bitcoin protocol that you can only have 21 million total blocks. And then they're mining them, I think 900 blocks a day, whatever that turns out to be, which is why Bitcoin is also one of the slower platforms out there, is because it is one of the first cryptocurrencies out there. And it wasn't designed for speed. It was designed for integrity and security. All right. But you could be on the tail end of a transaction and you might have to wait for the next block to be mined in order for your transaction to go into the block. That's why a Bitcoin transaction will probably take about 10 minutes or even longer, depending on, network congestivity, which is why, if the miners, I know China had a problem with their mining, and where a huge portion of their mining went down for a day, and that in the price of Bitcoin went down. It was because the transaction speed slowed down because new blocks weren't opening up to put transactions in. So that is essentially how it works. Now, how this really applies to people and the reason why people love it is this is entirely decentralized. All of the people that run all these nodes that are looking at your transactions, they're all over the world. Nobody really knows each other. You've got the people who've been running nodes for years and years, they know each other, I guess, maybe, but this is not a centralized thing. Anybody can run a node. I can run a node on my computer right now. I'm sure there's people in the town that I live in right now running Bitcoin nodes. There's people in my town right now mining. I would be mining right now, but I can't afford to burn out my video card because I can't afford $900 to replace it. Yeah. So this is also the miners who are putting all these blocks together and mining the blocks, completely decentralized. You know, there are some places that are like houses for people. Obviously, if you don't have mining rigs and you're just doing it with your personal computer, you join a group of 2,000 other people and you try and mine. And that's about as centralized as it gets. The whole thing is free from any government involvement, with the exception of when you want to take your Bitcoin and transfer it into the money they own, Federal Reserve notes. They own that money. They can do what they want with it. And when you transfer on an exchange and you want to cash out to dollars, okay, then they have restrictions, or they could tax you, or they can do what they want to with it. But they can't touch your Bitcoin. You can buy Bitcoin from a variety of places perfectly legally with no ID, no nothing. You probably be using a credit card, but you don't necessarily have to. And nobody knows you have that. You know, I mean, it's yours. It's only when you go to cash out. And different countries have different rules, different regulations. Go to El Salvador. They ain't going to care. They're saying El Salvador is like, we'll make you a resident national right now if you bring 3 Bitcoins into the country. That's how El Salvador is doing it. Cannot be confiscated. Okay. Now, because of how good it is, the value is going up. Okay. And Bitcoin recently went up in January by a fair amount because of they're printing trillions of dollars. Now, it's a hedge against inflation. Just because Bitcoin goes up by 300%, we'll say, just because Bitcoin goes up by 300% doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is worth that much more. It could mean that the dollar is worth that much less. Okay. You could look at Bitcoin in another currency and, you know, it's only gone up a little bit. So it's really only relational to your currency, which again is a fantastic thing, because it really doesn't matter what the dollar is doing. Your Bitcoin is worth a Bitcoin. All right. Now, I realize there's some fishiness going on with the markets being controlled because the big guys want their Bitcoin too. But as time goes on, now 5 years down the road is where I'll look with Bitcoin. You buy it and you hold it. And 5 years down the road, no one's going to be playing around at these pump and dumps because there's going to be no Bitcoin to take. South American countries are all buying this stuff up. BlackRock is all buying this stuff up. Elon Musk has been buying this stuff up. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy has been buying like crazy. All these guys, all them guys on Shark Tank, they're all buying it up. All the rich guys are all buying it up, and all the people who have held it are all buying. Now, what I was saying about the shorts, I did it in my last video. I brought it up, and I don't know if I have it anymore. They actually changed the graphic and the way they represented the shorts. I don't know if they saw my video or not. They said that doesn't look good. So they switched the graphic around, but these are the shorts for today. Okay. It's a massive amount of shorts. I explain it better in my video that I did as a precursor to this one. These are the shorts that are on that are probably going to cash out Friday. Okay. Depending on when they go, there's a margin call, they call it. Okay. Where people put in their short orders or their long orders, their bets, right? And there's a ton of them in there to short. And if they start selling those stocks to make the Bitcoin drop, it's gonna drop. Okay. And unless Panama comes out tomorrow and says, we're all Bitcoin, we're all going Bitcoin, I don't know if Bitcoin will hold. I mean, honestly, I hope it kind of goes down so I can buy in at an even cheaper price. However, you know, I'm not exactly a wealthy man. And that's all I really have to say about that. And the unfortunate part of when Bitcoin goes down is all of the other cryptocurrencies go down with it. And it's like, it's not like you can move your money out of Bitcoin and put it into Ethereum temporarily, because if Bitcoin goes down, Ethereum is going to go down too. All right. This is a buying opportunity though. That's just how you have to look at it. So, you know, get yourself a Coinbase account and then see if Bitcoin hits like 20 grand. I mean, they're shooting for, I think, for 24, but the bottom short is 18,000. And it's like, we'll see how much money BlackRock has to throw at it. I don't know. Let you know how valuable it is for how much money they're spending on it though, because they'll spend any amount of Federal Reserve worthless dollars that they got from the bank. They can just, I mean, worst come to worst, they can declare bankruptcy. No harm, no foul, but they got themselves some Bitcoin, right? So I'll take a look at chat and then we're going to watch our little video quick. Hey, Nick, you made it. Trucker, how you doing? Frustrated majority, basically any fiat money you have that you don't intend to spend for the next 5 years, you should put into something that will retain its value. Yes, precious metals. Yeah. The only problem, I mean, I'd say gold. Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin is the best store of value right now because it's portable and you can house it and you can have complete control of your wallet 100%. Okay. No one can touch it. Gold is pretty hard to move around. And they've done things like gold confiscation, and then you have to worry about how do you sell it, because you have to go to a jeweler or somebody who can prove that it's gold. Otherwise, no one will believe you. Yeah, those kind of things. The silver market is so controlled through derivatives and stuff that it's like, Bitcoin's so much easier when you understand the process. When you first get into cryptocurrency and you make your first purchase and you sit there for a week, that's the only really, then once you do that and you learn, it's like you kind of figure it out. You know, it's kind of like jumping in the pool when you don't know how to swim. You kind of figure it out, right? And what I will say about that is there is a lot of garbage on YouTube regarding cryptocurrencies. A lot of people that get paid a ridiculous amount of money to say, oh, you got to buy Shiba Inu, it's going to pump to the moon and all this stuff. And these guys are all shills. So yeah, there's a lot of those guys. Silver is controlled, will end at some point. Maybe not. I mean, silver is still a decent investment. I mean, you're not going to lose money on silver. That's the thing, is you're not going to maybe make much of a profit, but gold is time and time again, even as controlled as it is, it still retains its value. You're just not making much of a profit, because what happens is as soon as the price of gold goes up, all of these mining organizations go out and mine more gold. Okay. You can't do that with Bitcoin. You have to force other people to sell their stuff to you with Bitcoin, which is the whole purpose of shorting the market and making the price drop and making people go, ooh, I'm losing money. And then they sell their stuff. You know, that's the only way that you can do it. Whereas the next thing on my Amazon list when the market turns around is gold pans, because there's gold in Minnesota in the St. Croix River. And that sounds like a fun activity to do for part-time, is buy some pans and go panning for gold. Why not? Right? I can do it. Anybody can do it. All right. So we're going to watch this. Hopefully the audio plays. It's having a little bit of a problem with it, but we'll see.
Very, very important show. Like all our shows are important, but it comes from the point of view of being old guys versus young guys. And there's one thing, nobody likes to get old, but there's one thing good about getting old. You have more viewpoint to look at the world from. And I'm making a fortune in Bitcoin today, not because I have that much Bitcoin, but I speak for the younger generation. And I always warn that the baby boom generation's in serious trouble, because they drank the Kool-Aid. We were born during one of the biggest booms in world history. 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. And the economy boomed because they could print trillions of dollars that were fake. And now, that in 87, the stock market crashed, and what's his name? Greenspan went in there with the PPT, the plunge protection team, and says, don't worry, we'll cover it, we'll always protect stocks. But to do that, they had to print trillions of dollars to keep the stock market propped up so that baby boomers didn't lose everything. So here's baby boomers, the Leave It to Beaver and the Ozzie and Harriet crowd, for those of you old enough to remember that. And they drank the Kool-Aid, and now we have Social Security that's broke, Medicare that's broke, and the stock market's set to crash. What else could go wrong? And we have, when in 1970, I think the debt to GDP was 30%. Today it's 140%. And people say, well, what's different from 1970 to today is we're broke, we're bankrupt. 30% debt to GDP to 140% debt to GDP. That's like you were making 100,000 in 1971, let's say, but you had 30,000 in expenses. Today, you're making 100,000, but your expenses are 140,000 a year. And so the boomers are in serious, serious, serious trouble if they don't keep this bond market and stock market propped up. So with that said, dear old friend, Doug Casey.
All right. So there you have it from a boomer, two boomers. Is that the whole last 50 years has been nothing but a fake, phony, propped up economy ever since they went off the gold standard. They had to go off the gold standard because they were going bankrupt. So they went off the gold standard and just woohoo, they went crazy. And then they had huge inflation the end of the 70s. And, they changed some laws around so they could print fantasy money out of thin air. And they have these bond investments, right? This is why the movie The Big Short, and that Big Short where he shorted the housing market, why it took him so long to pull that off, because it should have collapsed and nobody could figure out why it wasn't collapsing. Well, it was being propped up with taxpayer debt, right? The banksters, the Wall Street guys who wrecked the economy, and Freddie, Fannie Mac, whatever, all those guys who took all these junk bonds and bundled them up with housing and called them, oh, they're AAA stuff, man. You really want this. And everybody invested the Social Security retirement in it. So they couldn't let it fail, because if it failed, it would be way worse than the Depression. So what do? Well, they open up all of these trades with all of these countries, and then we offshore all the debt. We offshore it all, offshore inflation, and just keep printing money. And, we just printed like 20% of all money that's ever been printed in this last year. And, man. Anyways, you don't have to believe me. You can believe the boomer with the blue glasses there. He is a very, very rich man, billionaire guy. And he's got Doug Casey as an interview that he has here. He's another rich guy. He's another boomer, where they talk about how they grew up and what they were paying for things and what their life was like. All right. Let me tell you, it's a lot different now. And it's a lot different for the millennials. The average cost of a house is $300,000 in America. Average cost. Who can afford that? Who can afford that? Only people who already have a house. It's bad. Which brings us back to crypto. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to give a shout out to Revivalist for Christ. This is Jordan, who's over at, you may even be watching, who's over at Renee Roland, and I forget the name of the other one. My wife will put it in chat, I'm sure. But he is at 364 subscribers. Okay. People that are interested in the Bible. I know this is a crypto stream, but this is just take a second. He's at 364 subscribers, and he needs 500 so he can do streaming or longer streams or something like that to really get, you know, his ministry thing going. So if you want to go help him out and give him a sub so he can get his account going. They've changed a lot of that since I started. Now you need like all sorts of people watching everything everywhere to, you know, 10,000 hours viewed and 50,000 subs for this, that, and the other thing. And yeah. Lisa's for the Most High. Isaiah, we're not going to ask 50 million questions this stream. No, as far as I know, Renee's pretty solid, but we're not doing the 50 questions today. Trucker, it's Revivalist. I just closed it out. Amy, can you grab that for him? So anyways, that's the basics of crypto. I don't know. Anyone have any basic questions on just like kind of the basic stuff and the need for crypto and why it's important? I feel as an opinion that it's important, and rich people want to get richer, think it's important. But my thing is not necessarily about the money. That's kind of like a bonus. Bitcoin does not go up like a lot of these other coins do. As we look at Coinbase and all the wonderful things you can waste your money on, right? Bitcoin is your store of value. You can consider it digital gold. That's how it's treated. It's treated like an asset, tax purposes. It's treated like a house right now, currently. So as far as taxes go, most of you probably will never have to worry about it because capital gains only starts after you make $40,000 profit. So I'll never have to worry about that, right? And when it's under that cap, I mean, unless you're a millionaire, right? Then you have to pay. But if you're typical, you know, making 40, 50 grand a year, you need to you need to make a profit of 40 grand at least before capital gains hits you. Otherwise, it just goes on your taxes, and whatever your normal tax rate is what you would pay for a profit that's on cryptocurrency. If the old South America goes Bitcoin though, and Mexico goes Bitcoin, I don't see how they could ever charge capital gains on a currency. That's like charging capital gains on a peso. If I take my dollars and I want to get Mexican pesos, how are they going to charge me capital gains on that? But that's another thing. I mean, that's what it is. People worried about tax stuff and that. And it's like, unless you're a millionaire, you really don't have to worry about it. Now, there's a lot of kids that's all they do is trade stocks back and forth. And technically in America, every time that you trade one coin for another coin for another coin for another coin, you know, those are supposedly all taxable events, but that's America for you. I wouldn't worry about it. If you buy something and you hold on to it, you don't pay any taxes. Nick's got a dumb question. How do the data mining comps ensure no loss of power? Well, they don't. And it doesn't, because when we look back at it's happened before. This is why another reason why Bitcoin is looked at as being a pristine asset is because it's been tested in the fire. Okay. It's been tested in the fire. It's been attacked by hackers before. It has had a breakdown between the miners who wanted to do something with Bitcoin and between the developers who are fixing any bugs and working with other coins to, you know, have forks and whatever they do. And the people who run the nodes, they all had like a civil war going. All right. And Bitcoin survived that. One of the things that was going to take place during that sort of civil war of the Bitcoiners where the miners were going to mine as much as possible. And then when they transfer over to the Bitcoin SV, I think Bitcoin SV, it was a different version, or Bitcoin Cash, one of those. They were going to switch all of their computing power over to Bitcoin Cash. So what would end up happening is it would take forever for Bitcoin to create another block. So that's like a miner attack, they call it. Well, it still survived that. Okay. And China, of course, is one of the major players. They mine like 35-40% of the Bitcoin is based out of Asia. And they regularly shut down their stuff because they're a communist country that just does what they feel like. And they also are not very good with safety regulations and stuff. And they have shut down, and the price dropped a little bit, but everybody else picks up the slack. And what happens is when the miners, lose power. I mean, like I said, people, there's 5,000, 6,000 people in my town. There's probably a couple hundred people in my town that are mining Bitcoin. Okay. It's a lot of guys that are under 30 are just mining it on their personal computers. So you're talking millions of people, right? And then these big, huge repositories, and you lose one of those. What happens is the blockchain and the nodes, where your transactions go, kind of the sorting place, the nodes figure out that the mining hash power went down, and Bitcoin configures itself for a new hash rate so that whatever miners are left, they're still able to complete the blocks, right? So it's kind of a self-protection mechanism. So worst case scenario, you got one miner left. Bitcoin, after a while, will figure out there's only one computer, in theory anyway. So that's what they say is the only way to get rid of Bitcoin is to completely shut down the internet. And then Bitcoin would stop, yes, but so would everything else on the planet or the plane. I'm going to keep using planet. I don't care. Everything else on the planet. All right. And the second that they turn the internet back on, Bitcoin would be up and running. So that is how it works, and how secure it is. That makes sense. Perfect. Perfect. So how does one get into doing the cryptocurrency thing? Now, you have to operate through what's called an exchange, and it works sort of similar to like a stock exchange, except you don't need any financial planner advisor guy down at the bank to charge you $50 to do nothing. You can do this yourself. All right. And don't be afraid of these big spooky numbers. Bitcoin's at 36,000. I don't have $36,000. Well, you can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin if you feel like. One Bitcoin is one Satoshi. The Bitcoins are made up of Satoshis. And I think it takes 10 million Satoshis to equal a Bitcoin. So if you buy $10 worth of Bitcoin, you get that many Satoshis, right? So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. And that's the way all cryptos work. When you buy them, it's never a full coin. Even if I bought a coin that was 10 cents and I spent $50, it would still be, 500 point something coins, because it can work out decimals. It's all computer talk. They know how all that works. So I use Coinbase when I start, and if you're going to buy and just hold on to it, there isn't any reason to use anything else. If you're doing trading, you'd use Coinbase Pro, which is a little bit more advanced interface that allows you to set up where say like Bitcoin's at 36,000 right now. If I use Coinbase Pro and I know I'm going to buy Bitcoin, I can say I'll buy it at 32,000. And I can set up a buy order. And if at some time over the night when I'm sleeping, it hits 32,000, it will automatically put my order in. Also, if I want to sell at a certain point, if Bitcoin hits $3 million by tomorrow, I'm selling. And then I can put a sell order in. And it doesn't cost you anything to do that. All free. It's all free until something is actually transacted. And then there are fees that are built into Bitcoin. There's fees that are built into Ethereum. The exchange only cares when you convert your coins into dollars. Okay. So there's always a fee for that. It's like $3 up to 1,000. And then I think it's 5 or something on Coinbase. I don't know. That's something when you get on there, you can figure out, but, you sign up for it and essentially you sign in, and apparently you have to have a phone, because I was trying to set up a dummy account. So I could kind of go through the sign up process, but I don't have a phone. So I'm out of luck. Anyways, that's a two-stage authentication thing to where no one can steal your stuff without also having your phone. So you do that and you get in there, and then it says you can look at all the stuff, and there's if you click on learn, they give you free crypto. And if you use, like if you sign up using my link or my wife's link or somebody else's link, you'll give them $10 too. I think they have all sorts of promos on Coinbase. They really want the market, and I don't mind it because Coinbase is a pretty easy to use, the easiest one to use for exchanges. So you get on here and you can learn about DeFi and altcoins, and it'll give you like $5 or $10 in crypto to play around with. But when you want to actually buy something or you want to cash out the stuff that they give you, you have to put a picture of your ID or passport or something. And it goes through what's called a KYC process that we only in America, which is called Know Your Customer, which is the spy network. Okay. It's just like you open a bank account or something. They need your ID and your stuff to prevent money laundering, right? Something like that. Anyways, that's what you have to do. And I don't know what the time is on it now. It took me a day when I did it. This was a year ago. So anyways, you know that it does that. And then once that's all clear, you can plug your bank account into it, or you can wire money into it. You may even be able to use your credit card now. I'm not sure. But then once you're set up, then you can start buying and selling, and you go up here and it's pretty much as easy as clicking the trade button. And then you can buy, sell, or if you already own something, you can convert it. And that's really all there is to it. See, you got a buy Bitcoin button. That's it. And it works like that. And when you own it, you'll have 3 tabs. It'll be buy, sell, and trade, right? One of the convenient things about Coinbase is if I have Bitcoin and I want to buy a little bit of Ethereum because Ethereum's got some stuff coming down the pipe and I think the price might go up, I don't have to buy Ethereum with my bank account. If I own Bitcoin, I can go into Bitcoin. I can convert some of my Bitcoin to become Ethereum. And you do this all with one click through Coinbase. Very simple, very easy, and very convenient, as opposed to other exchanges where you would have to take a portion of your Bitcoin and set up a sell order. And then when the sell order filled, then you take that and then you buy your stuff with it. I mean, it's a little bit more roundabout, but it's a little cheaper to do it the hard way. But for new people, just use Coinbase. There's no reason to make things complicated. Unless you're really into crypto like I am, then yeah, you're going to find yourself on all sorts of weird exchanges because not all the coins are on Coinbase. They have a very small fraction of them. And if I want to buy Monero, I got to go over to Kraken. Or I have to get the VPN going and buy it from another country. This is not going to do it. So, I don't know if anyone has any questions on that. Then we'll start talking about the differences between the different cryptocurrencies and what these things do. Like I said, cryptocurrency is the moniker that stuck because everything revolves around Bitcoin. All right. Regardless, there's a lot of people out there like XRP is going to dominate the world and Ethereum is going to overtake. And it's like, settle down, guys. The only one doing anything is Bitcoin. Okay. I mean, you've got some major players who are buying Ethereum, but Ethereum is not Bitcoin. Ethereum is a totally different thing. Totally different thing. These are like, some of them are currencies, but some of these are more like applications that you plug in. Okay, they're applications, digital applications that manipulate data and keep it secure, and like that. Library. Y'all know I talk about library and Odyssey, all right? Where we got my videos going, just in case I get wiped out. They use a library token, all right, which is how they encrypt and use their network. And they use the token both as a currency and as a sort of an auditing, keeping up the security of their network. But you watch my videos, you're paying me library tokens, all right? And I can cash those out for Federal Reserve notes or pesos or whatever they're using in El Salvador. Cash them into Bitcoin if I want to. Isaiah is asking a relevant question. Thank you, Isaiah. Is it true no one knows who founded Bitcoin? Correct. The moniker, the code name is Satoshi Nakamoto. And Satoshi was a real person, or at least the lead developer was a real guy who spoke under that name, right? But I'm pretty sure it was a group of people that did it, that put the whole thing together. And yeah, this is Satoshi Nakamoto has a book. I don't remember what it's called, but Dollar Vigilante, I think it's for free on his site, and goes through why Bitcoin was created, how Bitcoin works, and why it's important, and how, relevant. It goes through the whole thing. It's not like cryptocurrency just fell out of the sky into Satoshi's lap, though. Cryptocurrency has been around since like the 60s. Not cryptocurrency, but the technology and the algorithms behind cryptocurrency have been around since like the 60s. It's kind of developed off of a peer-to-peer technology. And Satoshi is the one who put it together in such a way that was purpose-driven to be a sound money, to free people from the Rothschild slavery and the government slavery, right? Everyone needs to have property that they can protect, that nobody can confiscate. That was the purpose behind it. So Satoshi is the first one who did that. And it's actually embedded in the first coin. It has a clip of a newspaper clipping where it's talking about the banksters that get bailed out in 2008 after they destroyed the market. And Gen X gets to pay for that. And the millennials get to pay for that. Okay. And the boomers get their free Social Security retirement, because of it. I mean, that's literally what happened. You watch the Rich Dad. That is what happened. But, they can, because it's such a scam, the stock markets and all of that stuff, and it's all just a cloud dream. I mean, they could probably keep it going for as long as they want to, but the other countries aren't going to play ball. I mean, the reason that America is wealthy is because we're outsourcing everything, and have everybody working for us because of the dollar. And if people stop using our dollar, that's about it. I mean, hello to, $10 loaves of bread. And obviously nobody can predict the future, but what it looks like, and I'll just bring up that lumber was 1,400 times what its historical highs were before, right? It's coming down now, but it used to be $360 to $400 for 1,000 yards of lumber, construction grade lumber, what they build houses out of. And it was up to $1,400 a couple of months ago. And that's in 1 year. So from $360 to $400 to $1,400 in 1 year for construction lumber. All right. So that doesn't say that the economy is doing great, right? Everything is just fine, and that's, no one's talking about that on the news hardly at all. It's amazing. We want to talk about a fake hacking of some pipeline where they confiscated Bitcoin. It's ridiculous. That whole thing was ridiculous. Satoshi is a blind swordsman from a bunch of old Japanese movies. Yeah. Satoshi, it's in the book of where the name comes from. Crypto can survive an empire. Well, there's a lot of empires in the world, isn't there? We can take our crypto and move on to the next one. I was already telling the wife, Bitcoin, old Mexico is already looking pretty good, but then Mexico wants to legalize or Bitcoin's legal everywhere, but they want to make it a legal tender. There's a difference. Legal tender. So like I was saying, you cannot take a gold bar to 7-Eleven and buy a Slurpee. Okay, you can't, because gold is not legal tender. They can't take it, right? They don't know what to do with gold. They have no means to do anything with gold. The only thing that is legal tender in America is your Federal Reserve dollar notes and your treasury change that is made of junk, made of tin, right? None of that stuff is worth what it comes out of. I mean, the only thing with intrinsic value is the old copper pennies, which you still might be able to find a couple. Yeah. Well, if you make Bitcoin a currency, you can't tax it as capital gains. Mexico's in NAFTA. It's a currency. No capital gains on it. So Bitcoin can go to the moon and you won't owe anybody anything on it. As a currency, it means that if you want to pay somebody in Mexico in Bitcoin, they have to take it. Okay. That means, like in El Salvador, they made it legal tender. So everybody who runs a shop of any sort who takes payment from customers has to be able to take Bitcoin. And El Salvador is like third world country. All right. Nobody has any money. They don't have any industry. All right. But they have iPhones. Right. So you go down to the fish market. I think I even have a picture of it. You go down to the fish market and buy yourself some fish and whatever kind of melons these are. And they got their iPhone and they can take your Bitcoin. That means if countries want to do business with El Salvador, they better have some Bitcoin. You see, it doesn't matter what a person may personally think about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter. You're going to come to the point where you have to be involved in it because somebody else is. You're going to want to buy something at some point and they're going to be, well, I don't want Federal Reserve dollars. If I ran a business, depending on what it was, I wouldn't take Federal Reserve dollars if I could get away with it. If I did any sort of a business that was a consultation business or an independent contractor, I would not take Federal Reserve dollars. I would only take Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency. No. So that's just how it is. You know, you're going to get to the point where a lot of things that are going under, a lot of private businesses going under, where you might need your plumbing fixed in your house and there's no nearby plumbers. And the one plumber superstore that survived, you know, is 50 miles away and says they can't come out for 6 months. But you know, a guy who knows plumbing and he might do it, but they'll say, hey, you got to come up with some Bitcoin. I'm not going to do it for federal dollars. Okay. I don't think that that's too far off. I think actually what's more likely to happen though, is that you're going to be getting a severe discount if you pay with crypto as opposed to paying with Federal Reserve notes. Tesla came out to where Tesla was going to accept Bitcoin to buy a Tesla. And the first thought in my head was, what kind of a moron would buy a Tesla with Bitcoin? It's like, yeah, he's the first guy who's saying you can directly pay for something with Bitcoin like cash, but nobody in their right mind is going to get rid of their Bitcoin for a Tesla. That would be dumb. Now, if Elon said, I'll give you the Tesla at 50% off if you buy it with Bitcoin, now you're talking, right? Because that's really about appropriate exchange, maybe 30% off. And later on, he said, well, Bitcoin uses too much energy, so we're not going to take Bitcoin for Teslas anymore. And the market dropped a little bit. And that was, you know, just a manufactured marketing FUD because nobody had ever bought in a Tesla with Bitcoin. So why anybody would care when Tesla said we're no longer taking Bitcoin for Teslas? It's just purely to manipulate the market. That's all it is. EMPs don't exist, Isaiah. Enough of the million questions. So here we are back on our old Coinbase. And, you know, it's like the thing with investing with Bitcoin is you buy it and forget it. And you dollar cost average. And what that means is you got $500 to spend that's sitting in your savings account. No plans for it. It's there. Well, dollar cost averaging is, say the price right now is $36,000. You buy $100 worth. Tomorrow, all of those short sales go through and it drops down to $28,000. You throw another $100 in. Over the weekend, it skyrockets back up to 42-ish or something and goes on. And then after a little bit, you throw another $100 in, even though it's higher from when you bought it before. And the idea is that by spacing out your investment money, you're never going to buy the top and you're never going to buy the bottom. But over the long term, you're averaging out to where your investment is kind of averaging, right? And That's the best way to go about things, especially, just hold on to it. I mean, we're not talking anything about trading. We're not talking about you only live once, throw it all on black and see what Dogecoin can bring you. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about having an alternative means of payment, regardless of what happens, that goes with inflation. It gets more valuable with inflation, so preserves your wealth, much like gold and silver do. Except if you want to buy something off Amazon, Amazon doesn't take gold. They will be taking Bitcoin. And if they don't take Bitcoin, they're going to take Dogecoin. Or you can use your credit card, which takes Bitcoin. Yeah, all of these major players are going to be coming out. The bank is also coming out in July, and they're going to be offering you can go to Bank of America and buy Bitcoin at Bank of America. All right. And every other bank, every major bank. You don't want to do that. You want to sign up your own Coinbase account, because you go let them buy it for you and they're going to custody it for you. It's no different than having your Federal Reserve ones and zeros in their account that they can close. The government's got a problem with you for some reason and locks your account up. Whatever could happen, you don't have any control over that because they hold it. You don't even know they hold it, really, honestly. You don't know if they're going to sell. I don't know if they're going to sell derivatives of Bitcoin. I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting. But when you buy it in here, after you purchase some Bitcoin, you'll have a couple of tabs, and one is like the current price and buy or whatever. And the other one's going to be a wallet tab. And the wallet tab, you click on that and that will have an address, and that's your receive address for your Bitcoin. Now, when it's on an exchange, Coinbase has the keys, much like a bank account would have it at keys. But should you feel the need to, you can pull your coins off of Coinbase, and then nobody knows where you got them. All right. Now, if you buy it from a bank, odds are they're going to want to hold on to your keys. Odds are, because that's the way they do everything. They want to try and nickel and dime people and steal as much wealth as they can. That's what their business is. So people don't have to worry about it. Right. And unfortunately, people make so much money that they just don't care. A lot of people ask my dad's wife if they have any stocks, and they go, "Oh, yeah." And I go, "Well, what are you invested in?" And they're like, "I don't know. I got a guy that does it." All right. There's been a few people in that same age bracket that have the same thing. It's like, so you hired a scumbag to steal your money for you. I mean, what it is. And as long as they give you 5%, which isn't even the inflation rate, guys, the inflation rate's 15%. So you think you're doing good because you give your money over to some sleazebag stockbroker guy and he invests it, right? Supposedly. And then, a year later, you have 5% more money. Mm-mm. No. Take your own money and make what you're supposed to, because even like the S&P 500 thing is like 15% if you invested it yourself for return on investment. Now, when we talk about the actual upside in money of where Bitcoin has been and where it is going, Bitcoin averages a 200% increase in value every single year since it was created. Now, some years it does almost nothing. In a couple of years, it went 400%. But if you average it all out over the 12 years of its existence, it goes up 200% every single year. Okay. So if it's been a while and it hasn't done anything for a while, you know that it's about to pop. That's kind of how it is. And it'll go up by 10% one day, down by 15% the next day, and then up by 130% the next day. And that is how the crypto market works. And when they use terms like diamond hands and spinach hands or whatever, diamond hands just means you hold. And that's what you do. The Bitcoin is you buy it and you hold it. And when the market figures itself out, it's all brand new. And when there's big players in there and BlackRock's in there and the Federal Reserve is in there and all these countries are using it for currency, then you can decide what you want to do with your Bitcoin, right? Because then it will have reached the appropriate value to what it's worth. Right now, And what I figure right now, Bitcoin's down about $50,000 from where it should be, based with the manipulation and everything of where the manipulation started and what they did with it and where it's being forced right now. It should be way, way higher. There's been nothing but good news for Bitcoin for the last year, with the exception of some meaningless fear and uncertainty and doubt campaigns that are financed by the BlackRock people, by the federal government, because they hate Bitcoin too. And all of the bigwigs, all of the rich guys that want to get in at a good price, because they have to steal your Bitcoin. They have to scare you so you release your Bitcoin so that they can buy it. They can't just go to the Bitcoin store and buy all the Bitcoin they want, because there isn't any. All of the Bitcoin that's being mined is getting bought as soon as, and the miners aren't selling. Their miners are only selling to recoup their cost for their mining, the power, energy cost. And then they're holding on to it because everyone sees the writing on the wall. So that's the deal with Bitcoin, why people like it and why everyone should have a little bit. Because with only 21 million coins and, obviously there's a lot more Satoshis, it is a limited supply deal. Joel Tipton, Doge to the moon. Yeah, I hope Doge goes to the moon. Some people, and it's kind of a little bit of a work. It's kind of a little work to be this way, but you need to be happy for people when they're successful, even if you don't like them, and be happy for people that if I'm not invested in a particular asset and it goes up by 500-600%, not to be like, oh, I wish I would have invested, and be mad at the people who made a bunch of money. You should be happy for them. It doesn't hurt you that they made a bunch of money. I feel that way about a lot of the globalist people too. Good for them. It doesn't really affect me, and that's kind of the attitude to have. And not a lot of people do, because when you suggest things like you should maybe look at doing some cryptocurrency things, because there are a lot of people that are sitting around on hundreds of thousands of dollars and they let some slime ball from, their bank put it in a money market or something for 7%, totally robbing them. And like, oh, no. Yeah, it's a scam, this and that and the other thing. And then you call them and talk to them about it again 6 months later. And you're like, yeah, well, we're up 40% for the crypto, you sure you don't want in? No, whatever. And then, the market's manipulated and crypto's down by 40%. Then they call you. How's your crypto doing? Right? You don't want to be that guy. Okay. All that is gloating in your laziness is really what it is. Being happy for people's misfortune, unless they're Bill Gates. I don't think anybody be unhappy for him. So anyways, we'll go through the different types of coins. Now we covered Bitcoin, store of value. Everybody should have it, in my opinion. Okay. You can stop there. Find a way to buy some Bitcoin, Done. I would say wait for a day, maybe, or maybe see what happens I'd say get a Coinbase account so you're ready to buy. Even if you never do buy, you'll have the account ready to go. The best time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own, right? When the market's really low and everyone's all mad because they're losing money, that's when you buy, all right? And there's like $1 trillion of shorts because of this El Salvador thing. And let's see when those process through. They start releasing and selling those shorts, the price is going to drop. And then it's going to shoot right back up. But if you're ready to go, you can get yourself a good price. And the only reason that I don't want that to happen, like I said, is because I don't have any money. And it's also going to bring down altcoins and stuff like that. And that would kind of suck, because the farther it goes down, it'll be a longer period of consolidation, they call it, to where all of the Black Rocks and all the big whales are kind of gradually purchasing here and there, so the market doesn't go up too quick. And then some news will happen, like Panama legalized or made Bitcoin tender or Mexico or something, and then it's going to go up to 80,000, 200,000, never come back, right? It's a patience game. So we go through, we got Bitcoin, covered that. So now Ethereum is the next big player. And everybody wants Ethereum to take out Bitcoin because a lot of people think that because Bitcoin is slow and it's what's called a proof of work. All those miners I was talking about, they're working to build more Bitcoin. So that's a proof of work. The new coins that are coming out are called proof of stake, which means they're not really mining anything. They create the coin with up-teen trillion coins, and that's just how it is. They don't mine for coins. They mine transactions, and that's really about it. And that's the difference between proof of work, proof of stake. So they say, oh, Ethereum's great because Bitcoin is slow and takes all this power and it's proof of work. And it's like, Bitcoin isn't designed for any of those things. It's designed to be an impenetrable store of value. And that's what it does very well. It does Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin and everything else is a shit coin. Okay. At least for the moment, there is some truth in that. And that's Max Kaiser's favorite thing. He's Bitcoin all the way and everything else is garbage. Well, Bitcoin does what it does very well, but there are other things like Ethereum, which is not really a currency. It can be used as a currency, but really Ethereum is a backbone network highway that allows you to plug in all these little modules like Google Apps, right? You want a module that does this. You want a module that does that. And you can plug it in and put it on the Ethereum chain. And then you have what's called like tokenization. You've got coins and you've got tokens. So the coins are the big ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then they have tokens that plug into them. So a lot of these things are like tokens. Litecoin, are you a token? I bet you are. I'm pretty sure Litecoin plugs into Bitcoin as a token. Bitcoin Cash, as I was talking about earlier. Dogecoin. They usually say right on here if they're an Ethereum deal. Oh, Chainlink is. So Chainlink is a fairly popular one that actually is good stuff that sort of does something. If I can find it, here it is. So Chainlink, it says here, when on Coinbase too, when you click on one of the things you might want to buy, it tells you a little bit of a blurb and sends you to their website. So Chainlink is an Ethereum token. Okay, so it's not a coin on its own. It requires Ethereum to exist. And it's a decentralized Oracle network. Whatever it does, I don't know. Apparently, Chainlink is designed so that it can plug into a lot of other tokens and a lot of other coins, maybe make like Bitcoin and Ethereum talk to each other. I don't know a ton about it, but a lot of people like it. And so it's a token that's run by Ethereum. So when you do something in Chainlink, and say you take your Chainlink and convert it off to another crypto or whatever with it, you would be paying like an Ethereum gas fee because it's an Ethereum token. Tether. So we've got Tether stays at $1. Ideally, we have these fractional percent manipulations here, but Tether ideally is supposed to stay at $1 US. And this is done so that you can trade in and out of coins without having to go back to a US dollar and paying all these extra fees. And it's like as a resting place. If I want to go from Bitcoin to Ethereum, I can't just turn my Bitcoin into Ethereum. I have to sell the Bitcoin and park it somewhere to get into Ethereum. So in order to avoid your transaction fees, and in order to do it very, very quickly, you would sell your Bitcoin and put it into Tether, which is a 1-to-1 dollar ratio. And then with your Tether, you can buy anything on the exchange and you're not losing any value. You can put your Tether coin and you can leave it up there for 6 months. It should technically still be exactly where you left it. I'm not sure how inflation works on it, but it's always pegged at $1. All right. And there are a few different coins out there that do that. You've got Tether, US dollar coin or token, depending on the exchange that you're in, is also, of course, pegged at $1. DAI, which is one that I've used, that's out of China, I'm pretty sure. DAI is different in that it's a stable coin that also, if you park your coins here, it pays you out like 5 or 10% of whatever you park there. It pays it out pretty regularly. I had some in there, and there's a little counter up here where the buy thing is. There was a little counter that said how much DAI I was earning every second. Granted, it was like 50 cents, but it was kind of neat. So that's another stable coin that actually gives you a benefit to actually having it in there. So when you compare, like in the stock market where, you know, my dad's wife is getting like 5% from some stock she doesn't even know anything about because she handles it off to some guy to do, right, for 5% interest. It's like you can take that same money and buy a currency like Cardano or something like DAI, a stable coin, and earn 5% on your money and take it out at any time. Anytime. What does a bank pay you? Nothing. Pretty soon there could be negative interest rates where they charge you to keep your money at a bank. So that's the stable coins as you're trading around. Binance coin is not a tradable one. I wonder if I can switch it to tradables. I don't even know what Binance coin does. Binance is another exchange. Cardano is a newer form. It's not Ethereum, but it does sort of the same thing, and it was developed by somebody else. Where this is another one that wants to be a pipeline, sort of a thing that applications plug into that do different things. Smart contracts is a big deal, and smart contracts is sort of like, it's a very new world ordery idea, but it is the way that they've already been doing things anyway. You know, if you rent a car someplace, you know, you check the little box and that's a contract, and it goes out to the blockchain and it confirms so that everybody knows that you're authorized to rent this car. Right. You know, that would be a contract. Another thing is like what I say about no banks. I mean, no banks. You want to go buy a house? You can use a smart contract and go buy a house. You can use a smart contract and rent out your property. You know, you don't need banks for anything. When, of course, things are up and running, as we are still in the baby steps, more or less, of cryptocurrency. But this is where these things are going, and the reason that they're worth money. And Cardano is really ridiculously cheap right now because right now it doesn't do anything. Nobody's running anything on Cardano, but it seems like a good product. All of these coins all have different quantities, I should say. You know, that's a large part of what's going to affect the price is over here. Probably does not show up over there, but it says supply. So the supply right now for Bitcoin is 18.7 million. Ethereum is 116.2 million, which I doubt because I don't think they know how much Ethereum is out there. But they say it's 116 million. Tether doesn't really count. Binance coin, 150 million. Cardano has 31.9 billion. Okay, you see the step up there? 31.9 billion coins. So if you're looking at Cardano and you're like, oh, it's $1.50, I'll get on that. And that Cardano will go to $1,000 and we'll be rich. Cardano is never going to $1,000 because the supply is 31 billion. You know, it might hit $5 in a few years, maybe, but there's just so much supply that ain't going to happen. Unless people start buying billions of it. I mean, you never know. It could happen. Never know in crypto. But like Dogecoin, for instance, Dogecoin, the miners mine 10 million Dogecoin a day, I believe. So Dogecoin supply cap is like something trillion. It's 130 billion right now. But I think it probably tells me. says Doge was created in 2013 as a lighthearted alternative to traditional cryptocurrencies. Well, at the time, that would just be Bitcoin. Dogecoin name Shiba Inu or logo are based on the same meme. Unlike Bitcoin, which is designed to be scarce, Dogecoin is intentionally abundant. 10,000 new coins are mined every minute, and there is no maximum supply. So this is why, people laugh about Dogecoin as an investment, right? It goes down in value just because you're printing 10,000 a minute. And the very fact that it's worth 32 cents is kind of ridiculous. But again, congratulations to the kids who made a lot of money. There's a lot of kids who put 20 bucks in a Dogecoin when it was a tenth of a cent, right? And it goes up to 70 cents. They're millionaires. So good for them. I wouldn't invest, but good for them. Let's see, what do we got here? XRP is a very, very popular one. It used to be a number 2 coin, and this is a bankster coin. So if you want the New World Order coin, this coin was designed to be a ledger system between banks. So, XRP, they actually use XRP now for MoneyGram. So when you wire money to Mexico, to your family down there, where you can buy a house for 20 grand, as opposed to here for 300, you wire your money to Mexico, they're going to use XRP, and it takes like a fraction of a second to get your money there, and everything's all good. XRP is the coin or the currency that is used by the Ripple network and the Ripple ledger system. And it's a central bankster thing. This is not a decentralized currency by any means. It is a centralized currency. But that is what it does. And a lot of people love it. I have my own ideas. If it's not decentralized, I don't care about it. If it's not decentralized, it's no different than a bank. It's no different than a Federal Reserve. That's all there is to that. And the only one that is decentralized, to my knowledge, is Bitcoin, minus some privacy coins that you cannot get on Coinbase. Okay. Coinbase has the government approved cryptocurrencies. US dollar coin, here's our one that's pegged at $1. So when you finance your account, it gives you US dollar coins. Okay, that's how it works. You send them money, they give you US dollar coins. Polkadot, I'm not exactly familiar with, but a lot of people like it. I don't exactly remember what these guys do. Uniswap is one of these ones for trading cryptocurrencies around and using different cryptos for different applications. I'm not huge up on that one either. Litecoin is one that I use, which is a Bitcoin-like cryptocurrency that is just faster. I was transferring Litecoin around, and if I have to put Bitcoin on another exchange so I can buy something, I will convert it into Litecoin first and then shoot it over there in Litecoin because the fees are basically nothing, and then convert it back into Bitcoin. Litecoin is a lot faster. Bitcoin, it's like you send a transaction, it could be 5 minutes or it could be 20 minutes. You never really know with Bitcoin because it's not meant to be cash. Solana, I'm not familiar with. Chainlink is, again, it's a plug-in thing for Ethereum that allows Ethereum to a lot of other applications to be hosted on Ethereum. That's what it does. And again, the only one that of all these coins, the only one that's actually doing something is Bitcoin. Ethereum kind of sort of doing stuff. Ethereum is being used right now for converting coins, for people buying Ethereum tokens, for people doing NFTs. Ethereum is being used for that because it's required to do those transactions. That's what it's being used for. But as far as tangible stuff and tangible value, that doesn't mean you can't make money on it. That doesn't mean you can't invest in it. I'm just saying everything is speculation. And you really, if you don't know anything about crypto, you really need to know and look at what you're buying. And, one thing about Coinbase is at least they do have a little crappy blurb here and a link to their white papers as to what they do. If they don't sound like they do anything or you have no idea and can't understand what they do, then don't buy them. Pretty simple. right? Pretty simple. Ethereum Classic, someone was talking to me about that, and I'm not very familiar with it, but the young kids are into that, so maybe she's another Dogecoin. I don't know. I notice a lot of these ones are ones that cannot be traded on Coinbase, like Monero. So we're talking about some of the big negatives about Bitcoin in particular. Bitcoin is the big juggernaut in the room. So when you're trying to sell your coin and you want people to buy your coin, you have to attack Bitcoin. Or if you're the US government, you have to make sure people don't buy Bitcoin because you want to tax them into oblivion. You want to make sure every nickel where it's going, you betcha. Okay, so everyone wants to attack Bitcoin. And the number one thing, as I mentioned before, is that you can track all the transactions on Bitcoin. Okay? It's pretty well open. That doesn't mean that people know who owns the wallet. They just know this amount of Bitcoin went from this wallet to this wallet. They don't know who owns the wallet, but you can track transactions like that. And obviously, if you're the federal government scooping up Bitcoin, people figure it out pretty quick. This is the federal government's wallet. This is where their Bitcoin is going, right? So they don't like that. But they do put it out there to scare people that like people are looking through your checkbook, and they pose it like this idea like the government's watching all of your stuff on your Bitcoin. And it's like, well, you guys realize that all of your credit card information and all your bank information goes to the government, right? You do realize that. I mean, really, I can buy my Bitcoin on Coinbase and take it off their exchange, and they may know I have the Bitcoin, but what are they going to do about that? Nothing. Or I can buy my Bitcoin off an exchange where I don't have KYC, know your customer, and send it to my wallet. I mean, I don't know. It's better than nothing. The importance of being able to validate transactions and to know that people have money, right? When you're in Bitcoin, is that I can give somebody my receive address for my Bitcoin wallet, and they'll know exactly how much money I got. All right. They'll know exactly how much Bitcoin money I've got. However, if I take that to a bank, I can say, I want to take a loan out on my Bitcoin. Here is my address. They'll know exactly how much money I've got. And then I can take a loan out against my Bitcoin. If I go to some place and I don't have any way to pay for anything, I say, look, I'm good for this much. Here's my Bitcoin address. Okay. So it works both ways. And really, the only way anyone's going to know it's your address is if you tell them. And there's no reason you can't have multiple wallets, one that you use for a lot of things and one that you don't. But when it comes to that, the Monero coin out there is going to be like, Bitcoin's terrible because they can see everything that you're doing and the government can track you. We're Monero. And right, nobody can track. You can buy Monero and transact in Monero, and nobody, not even the government, they have a $5 million purse out there for anyone who can crack the basics of Monero. And you can transact and do whatever you want in Monero, and nobody will be any the wiser. As soon as you buy it and send it off to a wallet, they have no idea where it goes. They know you purchased it based on, your KYC at your local Coinbase or Kraken. They don't sell it on Coinbase, but Kraken. And you can transact in Monero, and it's perfectly private. And there you go. The problem with that is the government doesn't like that. So it's really hard to find Monero to get. And because of that, the price is not going to go up because only anarchists and criminals want to use it and are going to go through the trouble of getting it. And it's a great product. I own some because I believe in that. I believe in privacy coins. So I own a few of them, but I realize that they are not great investments. All right. Because they could easily, with the stroke of a pen, say we don't like privacy coins. And then I could get pesos for my Monero maybe or something. I can work around it because I'm smart like that, but most people can't. I mean, They say you can't have Monero on any US exchange or something. It's like, yeah, you can get it from other places, but then how do you convert it back to US dollars? You got to do a rigmarole to bring it into Bitcoin, and then it's a pain, and it costs you money to do that. I believe in that stuff, so I buy it. But you look at the negative aspects of what people say about Bitcoin, it's because they're trying to sell you something. Okay, that's all it is. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to give you a perception about what it is. And yeah, it's digital gold. There you go. Simple enough. Some of these other ones I'm not familiar with. We're only going to look at the trade ones. AMP, I have no idea. Algorand, we talked about a little bit, I think, with Jack. Algorand is another one that's very similar to Cardano, where it's another network like Ethereum, where they plug stuff into it and it does smart contracts and NFTs and all these wonderful things, right? Again, they've done nothing to this point, so it's pure speculation. Circulating supply of 3.1 billion algo, so it's a little better than Cardano as far as the supply goes. Algo is working in Africa, so they have deals with the African governments to do logging of students or something. I mean, I guess you got to start small, but that's what they're planning to do when they get their stuff together. As far as types of things too, you hear a lot about buzzwords with like NFTs are the latest craze. And, a simple way to say that is it's just digital art. Okay. That's what an NFT is. NFT stands for non-fungible token. And what that means is that not all tokens are worth the same amount of money. So like, Algorand is worth, every single Algorand out there is worth $1.03 American. Every single Algorand. And anywhere you go, they're going to give you $1.03 American. Well, when you create an NFT and you plug it into someone's network, your NFT, could be worth $5 million. The next NFT could be worth $5. And they're all in the same network because they're artwork, right? An NFT is basically a JPEG, right? It's a picture or a song or whatever. It's art. They don't have to be art, but right now it's like if you want to buy yourself a Shiba Inu picture from Dogecoin, yeah, you can pay about 5 cents and they give you an NFT, which I guess goes in your NFT wallet. I don't know. I think that whole thing is a bubble and all that, but it is basically, I think how music is going to be working in the future is artists will release their albums on the internet and they'll put them in NFTs. And if you want the song, you'll buy it on the blockchain. There's no counterfeiting. There's no nothing. You buy it off the blockchain. And that will be how it's done. And licenses would all be done through smart contracts. Okay. These are things that already exist. This is why I think is like people that get all upset about, oh, it's a new world order and all this. And it's like, yes, all this stuff already exists. It already exists. The crypto network is just way more efficient, and we're not using 1950s technology anymore, right? It's the next step. It's going to go there, whether you like it or not. The SWIFT system has been around at least 50 years. SWIFT is when you swipe your credit card, something happens and they give you your cookies. All right. That's what SWIFT happens. But what reality happens is you swipe your credit card and the store gets an IOU. And then sometime 6 months later, the cookie that you bought, the store gets paid for because it's the SWIFT system, which ain't real SWIFT. Cryptocurrency does it, bam, like that. And governments don't like it because it's really hard to manipulate the money out of people and, take your little fees and take all your little this and that and scoop something off the top for yourself. Defraud people. It's really hard to do that when your transactions are a split second and they're fraction of a penny. The government doesn't want that. We want it slow and methodical. And we want a lot of hands to touch it. So all of our, little Freemason buddies can get their cut. That's how we want it to work. Yeah, a lot of these other ones in here I don't know too much about, but that is the gist of what these different coins do. Either they're going to be some type of a currency that's used, with some network, or it's going to be an application layer type thing. like Graph. I own Graph. Is an application. There it is. Is an application essentially. So it says the Graph is an Ethereum token, right? So it plugs into the Ethereum that we were talking about. And one of the reasons Ethereum is $2,500 a token is because a lot of things plug into it. So a lot of things are planning to use Ethereum when they get up and running, right? So everything is speculative. It makes it kind of worth something. So because this is made for use with Ethereum, this is an Ethereum token, and it's a decentralized, love the decentralized, guys, decentralized protocol for indexing, querying data from blockchain, just as Google indexes the web. Graph indexes the blockchain data from networks like Ethereum and Filecoin. Okay, so this, guys, is the analytics for Ethereum blockchain, and hopefully in the future, all blockchain. And I don't know. This is one that I'm really like. It doesn't make any money and it's very speculative. Now, remember, all of these tokens, no matter how good they sound, they can go belly up overnight because they're not doing anything. You know, I mean, who knows who the developers are for some of these things? Some of them are created specifically to get money out of your wallet, right? So you have to do research on this. Otherwise, you just buy Bitcoin and hold on to it and don't worry about it, right? But see, this one is like an application, and you can see by reading that what exactly it does. It's like Google for the blockchain. You want to know something about the blockchain, what's going on, how many NFTs were sold, who is the number one seller, right? You plug into Graph, and Graph will do that for you. I mean, I think that that's going to be huge personally, in my opinion, but you know, or it could fold tomorrow. I don't exactly have $1 million to throw at stuff. You know, if it fails, I'm out $50, $100 maybe. You know, we're talking small sums of money. You know, old Max, he doesn't make a lot of money. I'm not even close to a Bitcoin, guys. Not even close. Not even close to a half a Bitcoin. So yeah, as far as the different coin types, that's about what I have. And they're coming out with new stuff all the time. As you can see, it's pages upon pages upon pages upon pages of coins. Some of them are application specific. I'll go through some of those ones that I like that are application specific. Here's one that I like that I don't own anymore, but basic attention token. I use the Brave browser, and I recommend everybody out there use the Brave browser because it gives you, you know, basic attention token cryptocurrency for using it if you feel like it. Otherwise, you can turn all commercials off everywhere, and it just does it. You don't enable anything. You know, like sometimes you go to sites and it says, well, you've got a pop-up blocker and you need to turn that off because we really want to shove this ad down your throat, right? Brave doesn't have any of that. It just goes to the site and you get to see the site. Hey, guess what? YouTube commercials are gone with Brave browser. All right. Reason alone to use it. One of the things you can do is you can sign into it or log into it or create an account or whatever. And if you opt to see ads, they get a little tiny ad occasionally that pops up in the corner of the screen and it pays you. Right? You don't have to click on the ad. You don't have to do anything. You can exit out right of the way. Just for the fact of it popping up on, it pays you. And it pays you in basic attention token. So advertisers go to the Brave browser and they say, we want to advertise on your network. And they say, okay, in order to advertise, you need to pay us a certain amount of basic attention tokens. And they sell them basic attention tokens and it's distributed out to the people who watch the commercials. It's like you're getting, you know, people are going to collect your data anyway. At least these guys are saying, you want to get paid, you know? Very similar one is going to be the other one that I participate in that I can't buy because the government hates them. Library credits. Really hard for me to find a place to buy these guys. But on Odyssey, when I say subscribe to me on Odyssey, it pays in library credits. This is their exchange to where just by participating and being on their network and watching your favorite content creators on their network, they pay you in library credits, and you can take those credits and thumbs up videos so other people see them. You get paid for recommending videos to other people. And it's a thing where it's more of a community driven thing as opposed to Google, who just smashes you over the head and cuts your income off one day. A lot of channels, they don't like your stuff. We don't care if you got 3 million subscribers. They just cut your stuff off. Something like this is where even people who don't have, I think you need to have 5,000 subs to get monetized on Google. People who don't even have 5,000 subs, they can earn library credits. And it's a fair platform because there's really no, the way things get suggested is by people donating more library credits to your content. And, it's all new, but I like it. But that's what a token like this does. They all do something slightly different, but everybody wants to be Bitcoin. That's for sure. Everybody wants to be Bitcoin. And yes, when Bitcoin goes down in price, the rest of the market will go down in price. That's just how it is. So all of these other coins and all the people that promote other coins, it's fine. They're doing their job promoting the other coins, but it's like they get delusions of grandeur when they think that their coin is going to overtake Bitcoin. It's not. It's not. Ethereum does not do what Bitcoin does. It's a completely different sort of a system. So it's not competing with Bitcoin at all. It's doing its own thing. It's not like because Bitcoin's at 36,000, Ethereum is going to be stuck at 2,400. No, Ethereum could do 36,000 too, because Bitcoin is not competing at all with Ethereum. It's like Bitcoin versus these other like Dogecoin, direct competition, these other ones, Bitcoin Cash, other ones that are used as currencies. But it doesn't matter what they do. Bitcoin goes down, they all go down. They all go down. All right. So I've rambled on a good long time. I'll look at questions. And the only other stuff I had to talk about was maybe good news about what's going on with Bitcoin. But again, like I said, we got like $1 trillion of shorts. We got like $1 trillion of shorts going through. And, I'm hoping to pick up some Bitcoin on the cheap with my last couple of pennies I can put together. But that's record number of shorts right now, and the price isn't dropping. So they're holding they've borrowed the shares and have the shorts ready to go to drop the network or drop the price down. And we'll see what happens. Maybe enough people will buy that it won't drop at all. I don't know. You don't know. No one can predict the future. Don't get suckered into any of these guys that are like 20 years old on their crypto channels that have like $500,000 subs and they're 500,000 subs. And they're looking at the crypto graph and they're going, oh yeah, what we have here is we have a retracement up here and this 608.5 mark here. And they're drawing all over the screen like they really know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. Okay. You cannot predict the market based on what the market has done in the past. Okay. You can go through trends and it can be part of how you think that the market is going to go. But at the end of the day, nobody knows where the market's going to go. The only time you know where it's going to go is when they're manipulating it. And that's the only thing that the chart, looking at the charts, is good for, is when you can put a computer-driven manipulation protocol and outlay it over what the chart is doing, then you can see the manipulation, and then you still can't predict with certainty where the market's going to go. But you have a good idea of what people are trying to do. But otherwise, you have no idea. You have no idea. You could have an earthquake in China, knocks out part of the miners, the price goes down. And you're going to tell me that 2 weeks from now, when the kid looks back at the chart, he's going to see this dip and say it's something. And it's like, no, that was the miners. They couldn't mine. All of that. I think they call it TNA or something, where it's the chart, looking at the chart, reading the tea leaves and all this crap. It's like, no. People fall for that and get people to make dumb decisions with their crypto. All right, what do we got here? Nick says, people are getting sick and tired of being tracked. Yes, well, if anyone watches Dollar Vigilante like we do, And like people who kind of want to know what's going on. I understand there's a lot of people that don't watch that stuff because it's kind of depressing sometimes, but they are anarchist and Bitcoin mega bajillionaires, right? And because they have enough money, they're anarchists. They want everyone to go to privacy coins. And there is a thing called atomic swaps, which allow you, we'll talk about wallets after this, after I look at questions, which allow you from your personal wallet where you keep all your cryptos, right? Because you don't, if you have more than like $1,000 on an exchange like Coinbase, you should take it off the exchange, okay? Because you don't know what the government's going to do. As long as Coinbase has your coins, the government could come in there and say, we don't like that crypto or whatever they're going to do. All right. If you have a sizable amount of money on there and you're just going to hold on to it, you should bring it down into your own wallet that's housed on your computer or a hardware device or your phone or whatever. And don't think that if your computer breaks, you lost your Bitcoin, because your Bitcoin is stored out on the ether. What you can't lose is your seed phrase. And we'll get in there when I talk about that. Now I forgot what I was going before. Oh, the privacy stuff. So yeah, we talked about Monero. There's also Pirate Chain and WowNero and Zcash that have privacy elements in them. And the idea is that all of these guys got into Bitcoin when it was like, $5 for a Bitcoin. So they have thousands of Bitcoin. And yeah, they can do that. Bitcoin's gone up enough. They're mega bajillionaires, and they can swap their Bitcoin into a privacy coin and they're just fine. But somebody who's only got a little bit of crypto, you swap into a privacy coin and then they outlaw it, or they don't allow you to exchange it for US dollars, and you're kind of sunk. But I'm all for privacy coins. And in August, Bitcoin is going to have a privacy layer released, and that's going to add a privacy function to Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens with that. That's the thing too, is like all of these coins have active developers with the exception of Bitcoin, where they can kind of change whatever they want their coin to do at kind of a moment's notice. Bitcoin is locked in. It's doing what it's doing, and that's the way that it's going to stay. All right. They've already had minor strikes and all these other things, figuring all this stuff out. The where it is now, Bitcoin does what it does, and that's the way it's going to be. And they can make additions. They can make forks and tokens, and Bitcoin has a Lightning network that plugs into it that makes the transactions 1,000 transactions a second as opposed to 3. They can do all these things because they're software, right? But the core fundamental block of Bitcoin does not change. They just have all these additions to it. So that's the thing, is people are complaining about Bitcoin's privacy and security. Well, we'll just add a privacy layer. Done, right? You don't need a whole new coin. You don't need a whole new thing. Then that's a whole nother team of developers. That's a whole nother mining setup. It's a whole nother deal. And, I'm for privacy coins. I think that they're great, but they're not for everybody. Definitely not for everybody. Kevin asks how I feel about XRP. I got into the hype, and at buying it at 17 cents, it was a deal, and it went up to 70 cents or something. So I made some money on XRP. However, I also held on to it for like 3 months where it did nothing. And during that time, I wasn't one of the rah sis boom ba people who was like, oh, it's going to the moon and it's going to be the worldwide currency. And it's like, okay, it could be the worldwide currency, but that doesn't mean that it's ever going to be worth anything, because XRP is not decentralized and XRP doesn't have a real set amount, and Ripple owns all the XRP. So they're in trouble right now with the SEC, and everyone says, oh, the SEC is just witch hunting. And, the guy put the case through his last day of work and all this stuff. And it's all a big scam. And here's the thing, is the way that I see it, Ripple funds its company through selling XRP, and they own like more than half the XRP, maybe even 90% of the XRP that exists. Ripple owns, and when Ripple needs money, they sell XRP. Well, that's a security. Plain and simple, because XRP is not used as a currency right now. It isn't. It's an in-house trading thing between MoneyGram. MoneyGram in the United States will take US dollars and send them over to Mexico and through using XRP and convert it to pesos. But that's MoneyGram. That is not Federal Reserve Bank. That is not anything. That is MoneyGram. And if they're financing everything that they do by selling XRP, to me, it looks like it's a security. And I'm not a fan at all of centralized things like that. And the company owns the whole thing. I mean, no. No. I don't see XRP it'll probably hit $10, right? Okay. Logically, over the next couple of years, XRP will probably go to $10, but people are holding on to this stuff like it's going to go to, $100 a share or something. And it's like, well, there's billions of XRP out there, so that probably ain't happening. And people have these delusions that XRP is going to become the world currency because it is incredibly fast and then incredibly cheap, and you don't have to mine anything. And all of these supposed drawbacks to Bitcoin, XRP overcomes. And it's like, well, that's not the way the world works. The world doesn't work with the person who has the best stuff is the one who gets the job. That's never the way the world works. The fact is, Bitcoin is entrenched. It's in there. It's diverse. It's decentralized. Do you think South America wants to go be on a centralized XRP exchange? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And here is why I got out of XRP. And here's the main one. Do you think Rothschild wants to pay money to Ripple to use XRP? No. Rothschild is going to steal XRP, or they're going to make their own coin that's going to be the Federal Reserve coin, and they're not going to give anything to XRP. Right? That makes more logical sense to me. They're not going to give any control of their money. So, I hope the XRP does well for all the XRP fanboys, but a lot of those guys hate Bitcoin. They hate Bitcoin. It only goes so slow. XRP is fast. And it's like, XRP has only gone up 300% in a year. Now it sounds like a lot, but Ethereum is $2,600 and Ethereum went up like 600, 700% in the same amount of time. It's not even a good moneymaker. So that's my opinions on XRP. I also, anybody who watches me probably heard of the urban farmer, Curtis Stone. Curtis Stone knows the guy who developed XRP personally. He sold it for $300,000 to the banksters. All right. And he knows all about what it is and what it does. It's a bankster token. All right. That's what it is. They were lamenting how sad it was that they took the XRP protocol and they just basically made it a glorified ledger system. Meaning it's a lot more capable of what it is. But the people who are running it, Brad Garlinghouse, have no idea what it can do. Right. And then you've got the XRP clone from the other CEO, which is just a copy and paste of XRP, because neither of them know how it works. Urban Farmer can tell you the guy who actually created it and sold it for $300,000 to them. So they don't know what's going on with XRP. That's, and the reason that I'm going on long about XRP is because I'm pretty convinced that XRP spends a lot of money sending it out to YouTubers. So when you're looking at anything, you type in cryptocurrency in the YouTube search bar, XRP to the moon, XRP, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, can it go? This is what you're going to see. All right. And don't get confused by any of that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll put recommendations in the description as for good crypto places to actually watch that are just news, right? You don't need all this hype stuff for some teenager who's making $1,000 a video, getting paid at XRP, pump XRP and lie to you. So that's what I got with that. Jessica Jane setting up Coinbase. Good. It should go. It takes about a day. You get the thing, the KYC and all that. How to watch to see the best day to buy? Well, that'd be predicting the future. All I can say in generalities is I've watched the market for a year, and in general, the market tends to dip a little bit on Sundays in the evenings for whatever reason. Sunday mornings, maybe. I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm a holder. The more I look at my stuff, it's just how much money did I lose today, right? It's just how it is with their pump and dump going. But Sundays, typically the price will go down by like 5%, 6%, and then come right back up for a couple of hours. And I don't know why that is. There must be some exchanges in Asia, because Asia is huge in crypto. So as far as like when to buy is like, I don't know. You can't really predict that stuff. Generally, if something's been up and up and going up and up for like a week or two, you're probably not a good time to buy. What goes up needs to correct and come down, because people take profits. Everybody gets in at a different spot, which is why I say, if you're going to get into crypto, sooner is the better, because even if you get in like me around $45,000, $50,000 of Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin's at 36,000. So I'm down a bunch. Okay. On Bitcoin. Okay. But if I would have been in 1 month sooner, I'd be up 15%. Okay. Just that 1 month made that big of a difference. But because I was invested in other things, had some in Ethereum and some other things. Ethereum like quadrupled or quintupled, right? So when the market did tank, I basically broke even. I'm thankful for that. And it's how it is, how crypto goes. But there are people just even if I was in last year this time, Bitcoin was at like $6,000 or $8,000. Okay. Would you care if Bitcoin dropped from $60,000 to $36,000 if you bought your Bitcoin at $6,000? No, you would not care. You would not care at all. You'd be like, well, I guess I got to wait another week or two to get my boat. Right? That's it. So it's all about getting in early with Bitcoin. You can do all that speculation stuff on all this other stuff. Okay. Whatever you want to do with that. I'm talking specifically Bitcoin. The sooner you get in, the less any market fluctuations are ever going to hurt you. Right. Joel asks, how do you feel about trading crypto on Robinhood and Webull? Terrible. Not only is Robinhood a scumbag corporation that, ripped off those kids who were investing in GameStop, they're doing cryptocurrency now, and they don't allow you to take your coins off their market. So you're not even getting the coins. You're just borrowing them. And that's not an exchange. That's not how this works. There is no ownership in that. All you're doing is playing down a bet is all you're doing. You're not actually getting Bitcoin. They supposedly, in some point in the future, are going to allow you to take your tokens down. There's no point. Just go to Coinbase or some other exchange and buy them and keep them. See if there's any more questions here, and then we'll talk about wallets quick. Kevin H. at Max, what about other trading apps like Uphold? Okay, this will go right into the segue here into wallets. Okay. So there is something like 5,000 or 6,000 cryptocurrency coins, tokens, and everything in all different stages of development. Some are legitimate, some are total meme coins, some are charity tokens, some are video game money. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Because of that, some of them are privacy coins that America hates. I don't know how Monero got on Kraken. I really don't. But they did. America does not like that. They want the CIA to be able to look inside everybody's purses. So if these are things that you want to invest in, you can't go to Coinbase. You can't go to Kraken. Now, owning Monero, a privacy coin, is not illegal. None of these coins are illegal. However, because the government frowns upon it, they don't have to outlaw it. All they have to do is say, if you want your transaction Wall Street, scumbag license, Coinbase, we don't want you to host privacy coins. And Coinbase is like, okay, because they're making billions of dollars a day, probably. They don't care about privacy coins. To them, that's just a little side benefit. So the government says, oh, we kind of don't like that. We wouldn't want to have the SEC snooping around Coinbase. You list that privacy coin, it's a mafia. That's how they work. All right. Not illegal to have these things, but it's hard to get them. So as you get into crypto and you like trading and there's things you want to buy that you can't get to, you have to go to, boy, if I can remember it, CoinStats. CoinStats Pro. That's the app. Is it Coins? No, it's an app. Oh man, there's like a main one. Man, I'm trying to think of it. Maybe it'll just give it to me because it's like the most popular thing. Maybe they'll just give it to me. Coin market cap? Maybe that's it. Crypto coin rankings. I think it's coin market cap. I think. But anyways, you saw what I just did. Just Google a list of cryptos, right? And usually when you click on them, it'll tell you where you can get them. So you click on Doge coins, price instruments, market. If you click on market, it tells you where it's at. Yeah. So I don't really want to be on Dogecoin though. I'll copy and put that in chat. This is the one that I think a lot of people use when they're looking up cryptos, because it has everything there and it tells you a little bit about them. And you're not going to find everything on Coin. I mean, Coinbase is actually really limited. They only have like 50 coins. So a lot of those ones are actually stable coins and things. Let's go to a really weird one. Tron. Oh, here's Monero. We'll check Monero. So Monero here, CoinStats, it tells you the current price and it tells you how many Monero are out there, and it gives you your standard chart for your chart analysis for the guys to read the tea leaves and tell you when it's going to go to the moon, man, or however much Moneros are paying them guys. But yeah, so you got that. You get the little blurb, and down here, Monero markets. And now you have a spot market, which is like, this is the price, buy and sell. You get it right there, which is different than a market that's like an exchange, like a Kraken or a Coinbase Pro, where you, like I said, you can set up how much you want to buy it for, or, a little bit more leeway in there. And there's also some coins that you won't be able to buy with cash, guys. So you get more advanced into this stuff. Some exchanges, particularly the kind that are decentralized, where you want to buy most everything that you get from a decentralized exchange where people don't know who you are. They're going to want Litecoin or Bitcoin to transact to buy whatever they have. All right. So you have their Monero markets, and these are the places: Binance, Huobi. Binance will do an XMR to beat Bitcoin. They'll do it to US dollar tokens, US dollar token. Binance will also do Monero to Ethereum. But I'm pretty sure this Binance is the global Binance. But USA gets its own special Binance with all sorts of extra rules, because that's America. I think it is Coin Market Cap, but that seems, oh yeah, see all markets. It does tell you all markets. So if you want to figure out where to buy something, that's where you want to go. And it tells you all the markets everywhere. And no matter how random, let's see, where's one that I've never heard of? Wazirx, about Wazirx, launched in 2018. It's India's fastest growing cryptocurrency exchange. So whatever Wazirx is, you can buy Wazirx tokens at all these different places. Yeah. Great. I don't know. So yeah, that's the one that I think most people use. I have applications that I can't bring up because of course I'm signed into stuff. You know, you can't demo the product without actually being logged in. And the way crypto works is like, you can't even do a fake one because they want all the stuff and it's for security. So the kid gets a hold of your Bitcoin. You can't, you know, buy all the video games at the store. You understand? So that's the one. And now you found something really obscure that you really want to get into. Or even XMR. We'll use XMR. And you're on CoinNut. So this is not Coinbase. This is CoinNut. This is what most exchanges are going to look like. And some of them, if you're going off to a foreign exchange, like I've done, Portal, I think it is. I do some trainings on foreign exchanges. All the buttons are all in the wrong spot. It's really confusing. Okay. But this is what a different exchange looks like. And this is more of a full exchange where it gives you the buy and the sell orders and all of this really complicated stuff. All right. And this is where down here you can put in your limit orders and your buy and sell orders and all of these different things. Most exchanges are going to look like this. Okay. This is what Coinbase Pro looks like. Very complicated stuff, but you figure out all of this and then you buy it and then it's sitting in your wallet. Well, then what do you do with it? This is some weird random exchange. We got weird Asian characters up here. I don't know what that says. And now I got my Monero is stuck on the exchange here. I want to get that off. Okay. So then on this exchange, you go into your wallet that they set up for you when you purchased whatever it was you did, right? And you'll be able to send. And then you send that stuff and you send it. You can send it to Coinbase, right? Because Coinbase sets up wallets for you if you really wanted to do that. Sometimes they don't support it. They don't support XRP. They used to, because that's where I bought it. So you could send it to Coinbase. I don't recommend that. I recommend when you buy things off of Coinbase, you should save them in your own personal wallet. And the advantages of the wallet is it's yours. It's not sitting on an exchange. Nobody knows you got it. Okay. Yes, you can track the Bitcoin address and they know that you bought it from your bank account. So they know you have the Bitcoin and they know the Bitcoin went to a wallet. I get it. I know it. But they just have that little bit of Bitcoin that you bought off Coinbase. They don't have the stuff that you bought from Japan. They don't have the Monero that you bought off a decentralized exchange. They don't have your silo that you bought directly from the silo people. They don't have all this stuff. And the thing is that because those cryptocurrency exchanges don't actually sell the product, they don't have wallet support for them. So even if you bought something on an exchange, you want to have everything kind of together, don't you? Like a wallet. So that's where actual functional wallets that handle multiple cryptocurrencies come into play. I use the Atomic wallet personally because it is a software application that's just on your computer, on your laptop. I'm sure they have a phone app or something too. I use it for my own specific personal reasons. Most people recommend having a hardware wallet like a Trezor or something. There's a couple of different ones. Pretty sure Amy knows what it was like, or I think it's called like a Trezor or something. There's hardware wallets that they have support for all sorts of different coins. So like Atomic wallet, the one that I use, is going to take 10 minutes to load all the cryptocurrencies it has. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Tether, Binance, Dogecoin, blah, 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 load more, blah, 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 load more. So all of these different cryptocurrencies that you can find across the world in all these different seedy locations for your decentralized exchanges, you can store them on an atomic wallet safely. And nobody knows you got them. Especially if you didn't use KYC to buy your stuff, nobody knows you got it. Yeah. There are a lot of different software applications that do this. I use Atomic because it has atomic swaps built into it. And that means that inside of my wallet, if I want to take some Bitcoin and maybe convert it into a privacy coin that the government doesn't like because they track the Bitcoin, and I turn it into a privacy coin, I can have a boating accident. Nobody knows the wiser. So I use Atomic Wallet. There's probably a lot of other wallets that do that. I've had Atomic Wallet for a year and I've used the atomic swaps. They work great. I like it. It doesn't play nice with some cryptos. It doesn't play nice with Monero. And the other thing is too, with some of these weird, obscure cryptos, and you're going on all these exchanges, sometimes you have to have like 2 or 3 different wallets, because like Pirate Chain is another one I have, and they have their own wallet. They all have their own wallet, but nobody else supports them. So when you try and figure out how much money you got or how much money you're losing, you got to open up all these different applications, and that just becomes a security problem, right? The more passwords you have lying around to stuff, the more confusing it gets. And like I was saying, if my computer crashed and my Atomic went belly up, it does not matter at all. I can download Atomic on any other computer. And as long as I have my seed phrase, when you put your crypto and create your wallet, when you first download it, it says, this is your seed phrase. Don't lose this. They give you 12 to 16 words, random words. And you can take those words, plug them into the internet, and it pulls your crypto, all your different cryptos down. Okay. Atomic, they have their own cryptocurrency coin is how it works. They have their own Atomic network. And you download the Atomic wallet. It says, here's your stuff. And you put it back out there. And I've done this. I've restored my wallet before. Put it out there, your random gibberish words. And then it comes down and here's all your stuff. All the different cryptos you had on your wallet all come back perfectly. So anything, if you memorize those words, there is nobody who can ever get your stuff. All right. How people lose Bitcoin, which is the big reason that Bitcoin is going to go up, 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 allegedly, maybe my opinion. But because it's capped at 21 million, a lot of people have lost their Bitcoin. Okay. When a lot of these, crazy old whales that are buying thousands of Bitcoin, if they get hit by a bus, who's got their Bitcoin? Who's got it? BlackRock, I'm sure, has a whole security and trust and 20 different people with the keys to figure out where their Bitcoin is. But like these whales who bought in early, Tony Hawk, what if Tony Hawk had a skateboarding accident? He's got thousands upon thousands of Bitcoin. Does it vanish? Does somebody have his codes? I doubt anyone has his codes. And what happens then is that Bitcoin is no longer available, which makes the rest of the supply more valuable. So that led into that. I don't know if anyone has any wallet stuff. Yeah, what wallets? Yeah, I talked about wallets and it went on to something else because a wallet's not very complicated. It's just an application that holds all your crypto. That's it. Or a hardware thing, Trezor, or there was one that we're looking at. They didn't support the cryptos that I have, so there's no point for me. But that's going to be the case for me because I like rolling the dice sometimes and buying stuff that is too new to have any sort of support. All right, man, 1044. Any final questions? I don't think I have anything else really to get into with it. Yeah, so again, the whole idea behind everything is wealth preservation. And there's a lot of different things you can get involved in crypto and do with cryptocurrency that you can't do with other things, right? But right now, given the state of affairs we're in with the economy and the inflation and all of these things, the best thing you can do is diversify your Federal Reserve notes and put them into things that are going to at least hold their value, right? At least hold the value. If not, go up. And I don't think stocks are a very good idea right now because they're being propped up. You know, as you heard Rich Dad guy say, that the stocks are completely being held up by the Federal Reserve. Gold is heavily manipulated, but it's sure to hold its value. Silver right now is kind of broken free and is doing good. And you got the old Bitcoin. It's another place, you know. You never have your eggs all in one basket, right? And the idea is to get some sovereignty over your assets, your wealth, and your finances to where it's none of the government's business what you do with your stuff. Okay. None. And depending how far into it, you can stop banking and drop completely off the map and be fine. All right. I don't recommend people do that. I'm just saying it's possible. And things like cryptocurrency are going to come in a much more restricted fashion when the Federal Reserve gets into it. And some of these New World Order apps come, and they're coming, guys. I mean, we know that this is going to happen. Doesn't mean you have to participate. You can participate in your own thing. And you can live with me in El Salvador, right? Right. So that's the goal, is to be more free. Asking what wallet I have? No, we were looking at hardware wallets, and the one that was on sale for a deal was on $80 for the highest level one that they had. I thought it was a Trezor or something, and I couldn't remember the name of it. Anyways, hardware wallet just is basically a thumb drive. Okay, guys, it's a thumb drive that has a password on it. Nothing super secret-y anything about that. I prefer to use an application, because otherwise I do too much trading. It's too much of a pain. Eventually I'll probably do a hardware thing though. The other thing I'm going to put on here is if you want to play around and pretend buy cryptocurrency, but not actually buy it, but you want to be able to track it. Coinstats.app. I use this to track my portfolio without actually having to go into my wallets every single time. Every single time that I swap something for something else, going into my wallet, I have a spreadsheet for all that stuff, of course, but it's really easy at a glance to go check on how your stuff is doing by using this. And you create an account, and you click on something, and you click on add transaction here, and you tell it how much Bitcoin you bought, and then it adds it to your ledger. That's it, right? It's real simple. So then you can kind of pretend trade stuff around and see how well you do. And yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. We're down to 5 people, so I guess everyone else fell asleep. I'm going to go fishing because, I got my fishing hut back there. All right. Everybody's busy getting their Coinbase account. They ought to pay me. Coinbase ought to pay me. And I'm not kidding about when you look at YouTube about coins and stuff like that on YouTube. Man, these guys literally got $1,000 from Poop Coin. Get Poop Coin now, and they literally get like $1,000 to say this is the greatest coin on the planet. A lot of these XRP guys that have no reason to say it's going to the moon are saying it, and it's like they're obvious shills. Let's see if I can find them. I'll give one here. Digital asset news. This is a guy that I listen to. just does crypto news, nothing exciting, and he's an investor person. Okay. Make sure that's the right one. For crypto guys to watch. There's a whole bunch of people that I watch, but they're not exactly conducive to family entertainment. And they're not always right. And I watch them more for entertainment than for actual investment. Anything. But for a good general investor's perspective for what's going on in the crypto marketplace, digital asset news is a pretty good one. So that's what I got. Any more questions? Otherwise, we're calling it. Oh, we just got 2 more people. I ain't got anything else. I'm about spent. I mean, I ain't gonna get down to the particular aspects of every little coin. I'm gonna be here all night. Doesn't look like we got anything. All right, Nick. Well, I hope you get invested, make lots of money. Good luck to Jessica getting her Coinbase going. Yeah, all right. Well, that covers it for my one and only crypto basics, whatever. If there's still questions, throw them in if you're watching this later or whatever, I'll answer questions and everything on this video down in the comment section. And then otherwise, everything else is going to be over on Just Plain Science, right? Because it's 2 totally different sort of people. People who want to hear about crypto don't necessarily want to hear about Jesus, even though they should. You can take that one to the bank. Yeah. All right. That's what we got. You guys, good night. God bless. Take care. And I hope you all get invested. And like I said, I'm not selling you anything. And I'm not getting fabulously wealthy off this like it's some kind of a scam. I said I'm down, but I know where it's going. I've done thousands of hours of research. You saw one of the people where I get my information from, richest dad in the world or whatever his name is, who talks real about the economy. And this is where I see it's going. And I don't see anything but a benefit to at least possess a little bit of Bitcoin for, even something to play around with. Because like I said, everything's going to be a coin of some sort in the future. Probably 10 years down the road, there won't be any paper money. Who knows? So yeah, there's that. All right, guys, we're done here. Good night. God bless. We'll see you next time.